What is up? Welcome back to the channel. We are here today with another video, an unboxing of a new toy. What are we talking about? We're talking about the Marvel Legends Maximum Spider-Man here. So this is a new kind of subset or sub-series of Marvel Legends that they're doing, and they're calling it the Maximum series. So if you've seen any of my other videos, this is essentially Marvel Legends version or their way of maybe competing, if you will, with the WWE Ultimates, where they'll have, you know, the more articulation, the more accessories, all that kind of stuff. So that is what we have here. So this came out maybe spring-ish time, early summer, somewhere in there. I got mine a little bit later because I didn't pre-order it right away when it went up, and a bunch of the places that you could pre-order this from sold out. So then I found like a smaller, not mom and pop type place, I would say, but like not somewhere as well known to pre-order this from. So they didn't get their shipment in from Hasbro right away. So I probably got this maybe mid-summer-ish, maybe late June, early July, something to that effect. And I just haven't gotten around to opening it. But so I know this is kind of an older thing. There's a ton of videos and reviews and stuff already on YouTube. So obviously, you know, you can watch those if you want. But I just wanted to kind of look at it and review it since this is my first opening of a Maximum figure. And I kind of want to collect these because at least I hope I want to collect these, because Marvel Legends is so deep and there's so many characters and like sublines and different lines, and like just if you wanted to collect like Spider-Man, there's hundreds of Spider-Mans that you could do if you wanted. It just seems more difficult than I want to do when it comes to collecting, on top of the fact that prices continue to go up. So your basic, you know, Marvel Legend is like $27.99 now, when I kind of first started collecting hot and heavy, if you will, they were $19.99. So that's a hard pill to swallow, to spend almost $10 more for nothing more. You know what I mean? Like, I bought Marvel Legends more so when they were $19.99, and I tried to get into collecting them, but it just wasn't what I wanted to collect for Marvel. And I wanted something out here to have Marvel represented, because it is such a big deal, especially now with the movies and the cinematic universe and all that kind of stuff. And it's always had a big presence in the toy industry or whatever. So I wanted to have them represented out here in my toy building. I do love Marvel. I just was never a comic book kid, so I didn't have tons of comic books. The movies is really where I started to kind of dive into it more. So that's where most of my Marvel knowledge comes from, is the movies, which I understand that the purists out there will definitely give me some shit for that. But like I said, I was never a comic book kid because I had wrestling. So I always had something to do or watch with that. So that's where I was never big into the comic books as a kid, but I've definitely gotten more into them now, and this is my way of kind of having Marvel represented out here. Now, I hope the Maximum series will just stick to the big names. So Spider-Man was the first one, Incredible Hulk was the second one, and then the third one that they just announced is Deadpool. That's three like tippy-top guys in the Marvel universe. I'm sure Cap is coming, I'm sure Iron Man's coming, I'm sure Wolverine is coming. So those three are right tippy-top guys that I would want in my collection. I know some of the diehard Marvel fans want those deep cuts, that, you know, characters that maybe only appeared a handful of times or something to that effect. But for me in my collection, I really want the big main characters. And, you know, we're on pace to maybe have 3 or 4 come out a year. And with the little bit heavier price point to these, and the fact that I don't know that you need every minuscule character as a Maximum, I would like to say that the Maximum line is my way to collect Marvel figures. That remains to be seen if that's how it works out, but I'm definitely happy with where they've started. Spider-Man, Hulk, Deadpool, all instant purchases essentially for me. Any of the other 3 I named, Wolverine, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, I'm blanking now. on more of the bigger names that I'd like to see, but those guys that I've named for sure would be really awesome. I'd love if they did a Stan Lee in a Maximum, to be honest. Now that I think about it, they did do a Stan Lee not too long ago. Maybe, man, it may have been 5 years ago now. I don't know. But that would be really cool if they did a Stan Lee in one of these Maximums. They haven't done a Stan Lee in a little while, so it'd be cool if they got him back into the line as a Maximum. I would dig that. Even if they did it as like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, where it was a little bit more limited, but either way, let's get this bad boy open and see it. Like I said, they're supposed to be kind of on the same vein as like the WWE Ultimate figures. So we'll see how close they are, if it's better, if it's worse, what have you, and go from there. So he just slides right out of there. There's the empty box. All right. There's kind of the plastic prison shot, if you will. All of the accessories and goodness he comes with. He has a few more accessories, and he looks like he actually comes with a stand, too. It looks like he's missing, like, pieces right there, but I think that's just how it was in the packaging. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I don't think I would be. But, yeah, let's start popping all these accessories out. Here's like a web thing. I don't know. I wonder if there was instructions in there. I should look. Here's another like web kind of piece. I don't know what you want to call that, but another one like he was shooting a guy kind of deal. This is kind of cool. I always thought this was cool. You know how his, Peter Tingle is tingling, if you will, his spider sense. That's kind of a cool thing. I'm not going to display him with this on, but it's definitely a cool piece to have, especially if you're like a Spider-Man completist and you have like every Spider-Man ever. Like having something like this to display on him would be really cool. I would definitely dig that. Here's one head or face. I don't see how it's much different than the head that's on him. I'll show you the head on him, and once I get him out, I'm kind of taking all the accessories out here first, just so I don't lose anything when I take the figure out. There's a Peter head, so if you want to take the masked head off and just have a clean Peter head, there's that guy. I will not be using the Peter head because obviously I want him to be Spider-Man in this collection. If they did come out with a Peter Parker Maximum, I would pick that up too, just because Peter is probably one of the best, or I don't know that I would say most well-known, but he's definitely one of the best, like, hidden identity characters, in my opinion, in the comics. So, all right. Oh, okay, I see here. I think you would use these hands and maybe connect some of these other pieces to them. I'm not sure, maybe not. But here's like his web shooting hands, so you can see him, and he's got the thwipping thing going on, and he's got the web shooting out. So this piece does not come off, it's stuck on there. So you could display him like that if he was in like mid shot kind of thing, and then here's, are these different hands or the same hands? They're different hands. So you could do right and left and have both. There's another one where, again, it's kind of like mid shot if you wanted to have him looking like he was doing some action poses. Here is like a long web thing. I don't know, do these connect to each other? Man, maybe I should have opened this first and figured some of this out instead of doing it on camera, but hey, we're live and in color here, so we're just going with it, I guess. We'll play with it and see what happens. Then we've got some other kind of whipping hands, if you will, but they don't have the web pieces on them. So you could have them in that position, but not have the webs come out if you wanted to. So there's that. Nice little touch. There's he's almost like half doing it there, whereas like pinky's bent. That's interesting. But, and then we have the C-grip hands, where you could have them hold stuff. If you wanted him to hold, like like a weapon of some kind or whatever. He doesn't come with any weapons that he could really hold. I mean, I guess you could have him hold this to where it looks like he's swinging. That's probably what these are for. You could put the C-grip hands on him and have him hold those like that. And then if you wanted to, you know, you could have him swinging through the air kind of deal. That would be my guess is what you do with those. Let's see. We got this stand here. I don't really know how this would work, to be honest. Unless he has a hole in his back, which he doesn't. So I'm not really sure how the stand works. Sorry, I didn't show it to you. But there's that guy. I might have to do some fiddling around with this to see how he works, but we're still going with accessories here. I would say on the accessory front, it's definitely a solid pack. Here he has his like wall crawling hands. So if you wanted to display him, maybe looking like he was crawling a wall or something, there's those guys. So pretty cool there. I don't know how you would do that with his feet, unless maybe you just put him right next to the shelf wall, and like his feet were still on the bottom of the shelf, and then his hands were on the wall, so it looked like he was about to start crawling up. That would be kind of cool. And then, I don't know too much of the story with these hands, but it looks like a non-suited type hand with the web slinger and everything on it, or the web slinger. But there he is in like his thwipping, so he could shoot webs with like his non-suited hand. I think. I don't know how these would go on though, I guess is my... I'm not... Maybe you'd have to take off... Yeah, okay. Once we get to figure out, I think I see how they would work. There's the other hand. This one's more of like an open gripping type hand. All right, now we got the figure though. We got all the accessories out. Oh yeah, man. He does have some sweet articulation. He looks really good. This is a sweet Spider-Man figure. I'm in no way the person that would be able to say that this is the best Spider-Man figure ever, but I think for my money, this is definitely the one I would have in my collection if I was like, you know, just a Marvel collector. That's really sick. Really, really cool. I'm very glad that I decided that I wanted to go with these. So he does have the toe articulation like the WWE Ultimates that we talked about. So he has the toe articulation in both. He has pinless double jointed knees. So definitely very cool there. Really, really like to see that. His waist, well, okay, so he has the thigh cut too, so you can spin his thigh. And then he has the hip joint, obviously, like they all do. His waist, though, is what's curious to me. Because he has, so the upper side here, he has the torso lean, kind of like the Ultimates do. But then he also has the crunch right here, like Elites do. So he has both of them, really. And you can really get some crazy movement then with that because of both of those articulation points. And then he has the double jointed pinless elbows. So very cool to see that, pinless in the knees and the elbows. I did not really anticipate that. But then he has the like forearm cut. So like right in this area where his arm will spin. And now this is where I think those hands go that had the, yeah, so see how it had, so like this hand only has the hand and then a peg coming out of it, where this has the hand and the forearm. So that's where the forearm would go then. So you could plug it into his, see, yeah, so now he has, that's the wrong hand on the wrong arm, but you get what I'm trying to show you. I'm not going to display him like this. I'm going to have the full suit on, but there he is in that regard. So yes, the calves, or the forearms, not the calves, the forearms come off so you can switch the arm there like that. And then he has the neck articulation here, like where it hits the chest, and then he has neck articulation where the head hits the neck also. So it gives him quite an array of movement with his head. He's got like kind of like butterfly joints in his shoulders there, so pretty cool. But this is a sick figure. It's hard to say that's better than WWE Ultimates, but I'd say it's damn close if it isn't. This is really well done. I don't feel like I got cheaped out on price or anything like that. I think they did a really good job with this. I really like this figure. I'm excited to try to kind of display him in different poses. I'd like to have him, so if I have a shelf set up, and you know, I'd have all the guys lined up maybe, but I'd like to have him maybe swinging. So he'd be like above the guys, and I could have him, you know, kind of like flying through the air kind of deal. I don't know though. We'll have to see. Obviously, the display and everything all depends on space. And if they start to make a lot more maximums a year rather than just like the 3 or 4 that we're on pace for, we might have to do something else. But if they did that also, I probably wouldn't still be an all-in kind of guy on the maximums, because at that point you'd probably be getting characters that maybe I didn't know as well or things like that. So hopefully I can do some type of maybe, you know, dynamic type pose where he swings through. But I think this is a shield. Now that I'm kind of looking at it, it pops onto his arm, so he has like a web shield. That's kind of cool. If I do just stand him up, maybe I will have him hold the shield, because that's pretty sweet. I've never really seen him with a web shield like that, but that means nothing, because like I said, I never really read all the comic books. But yeah, I think that looks really cool if I were to display him just like that. He does have peg holes too, if you want to use like a WWE ringside collectible stand or any type of stand that works for Marvel Legends or like WWE Mattel type guys. I still don't know how this stand works, to be honest. I don't see anywhere that it would go into him or like anything that would hold him on the stand. Oh yeah, see, this is what I wanted to compare, the two heads. So there's the head that was on him in the packaging, and then there's the other head. This one might be a little darker red. I don't know if that's just a coincidence, like it just happened with the paint they had at the factory, or what. And the eye shape is a little different. I guess the web squares, if you will, are a little closer together and stuff, but I'm just gonna leave the head that was on him, and go from there. Let's just put this on to play with it so we can see. That is pretty cool. Like I said, I'm not going to display him like that because I want him to kind of look like I envision Spider-Man, and that on his head is not how I would envision him if I'm just thinking about Spider-Man. If more Spider-Man figures come out that I end up getting, I might use that accessory on one of them, but I don't know. If I don't see myself getting another kind of Spider-Man for this display, if you will. I do have an idea for another Marvel display that I want to do, because I want to do some retro Marvel stuff too, just because I like the older toys a lot, like, you know, 80s, 90s type stuff, and I'd like to do something with the Marvel toys from back then. I think I have an idea of what I want to do, but that'll be for a future video. So this has been the Spider-Man Marvel Legends Maximum series. I do have the Incredible Hulk, so that video will be coming soon as well, because I definitely want to see that one also, because this is obviously a small, kind of normal sized human figure, so very, very similar to the WWE Ultimates, where that Hulk is massive. So he's way, way bigger. So I'm curious to see how the articulation does in that one, and if I'm still as impressed as I am with this figure with that Hulk figure. So, but yeah, this is the Spider-Man, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed this kind of review. I know it was a little bit late compared to when he came out, so a lot of people have already seen reviews and stuff on him, but I wanted to open him up, check it out for a first-time Maximum guy, and go from there. But, yep, this is Dylan, and I will see you all in the next one.